Welcome back, Keepers of the Flame. Okay, so this book, this one right here, Lilith, Keepers of the Flame, I know it's backwards, by Mary Blue, but there's what the cover looks like. I highly recommend you go get it, read it. So I referenced a little bit in the previous video about the devil and the tarot, holding men and women separate in chains. And so the counter female aspect to that is Lilith, to the devil. I know, lady. I'm not sure if you know this about this channel, but we don't read the devil energy in a biblical way here. We read it as an energetic pattern and what its performance actually produces, not some sort of biblical narrative. Oh, he was a bad man and the devil made him do it. No. The devil held up the torch and said, hey, did you want to look at this and process this correctly, or are you going to fuck your own shit up? Okay. So Lilith is kind of the same thing. Lilith got a really bad rap, and patriarchy took control of the narrative and the energetic pattern that they pretended was playing out, tried to make manifest. Okay. So just like the devil is the keeper of the gate. You don't get through the gate unless you comprehend your own power, your own sovereignty, your own autonomous nature of choosing a path for yourself. If you give in to the addiction, the numbing out, that I don't want to look at that because it makes me uncomfortable, it hurts my feelings, I can't sit with that, whatever the heck it is, then you're not going to get past the gate. And who's at the gate? Lilith is at the gate to the garden. Okay. And it says here in the book, Lilith is holding open the gate to her eternal garden. Will you enter? Okay. So in astrology at this moment in time, the moon is squaring Lilith. This is our internal world, our fascia, our mucous membranes in our bodies, all of the fluid that is water based. Okay, that's lunar energy. Okay, and it is feminine. It is feminine energy, and it doesn't just affect females, it affects masculine as well, because you also have feminine flowing through your body, which would be water. Is feminine energy. Uh-oh. I know. You can scream about it later. Anyway. This is why they work so hard to keep us separated. Males and versus females, and keep us arguing amongst ourselves. And if you want the temperature check on that, go read the reviews for the fourth matrix. That's your temperature check on how the general population views how exactly that role was meant to play out. To keep the system crap from becoming what it's become. And we failed at that. So the purpose behind the sacred union has been dissolved, if you will. Because it's not performing its function. So that way it's not going to be viable in the future. This is why it's dissipating. This is a natural biological process that's happening in our literal system. Okay, so it's not the social media thing. It is their implants, maybe not really Agent Smiths, pretend oracles. Let's go like that. Pretend oracles out there leading people in separate directions on purpose, and they just chose to follow. They chose that for themselves. So that formulates the future that we step into. We don't get to negate that because it hurts our feelings all of a sudden, and maybe it was a tragic misstep. We don't get to go back in time and change that. We have to keep focusing forward. Okay, and again, those biological tactics were manipulated by those who comprehended what was happening to the human biology and said, hey, there's the weak spot, get it. And it was gotten. So here we are, moving forward, and we have to reclaim the feminine. We have to go back, access the feminine narrative, figure out where the patriarchy did humanity a big doo-doo, okay, and recover what we can and move forward with an innovative, creative way of proceeding with life, because it's not going to be anything like we've known it before. So we need a little bit of something to hold on to, a little bit of something, okay, and that's what we're digging for today. That's what the astrology is calling for with this moon. My Lilith is in Capricorn. So I'm not just one little, everybody who's got their Lilith in Capricorn is the full embodiment of Lilith. We don't have just an aspect here or there. We have the totality. Okay, this is why I'm bringing up this book right now, because when I found out that I was the she-devil, it hurt my feelings a little bit. And I was like, okay, 3 days under the duvet, figuring out who gets what. And then we're going to roll out. Because I didn't want to be the she-devil. I was like, you can't fucking make me be the she-devil. I'm not a she-devil. I don't want to be the she-devil. Fuck you. I'm not doing this she-devil thing. Okay. So I had to come to some sort of peace with that. And this book is how I did that. Okay. So, again, when you have a narrative that is being plastered on you, and you're being told that you're bad, wrong, dirty, evil, maniacal, whatever the heck it is, blah, 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 you're going to tend to behave that way. And this is why the red pill was so effective, is because the red pill came in and told you that you are supposed to blah, 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 and then now they're out there doing it. Okay, this is what happens. Okay, so rather than deny the reality of the situation, we're just going to move forward going, okay, they chose that reality for themselves, can't do anything about it, but what we can do is recover some semblance of humanity for ourselves, moving forward in an intelligent way that doesn't involve, humans biffing it for no goddamn good reason. Crazy, I know. Okay. So, this quote is by Monica Soles. We are the wise women returning at this dangerous hour, because women worldwide are and always were the guardians of the living earth, as are all surviving native, tribal, shamanistic peoples who still commune with the spirits. Ooh, stepping in it now. Okay. So this is the rewriting, the reinterpretation, the remembering, and a lot of times she references documents that she recovered from specific writings. So I highly recommend you get into that and read about as much of truthful past history, accounting. Okay. Get into the wise woman feminine narrative, because you're gonna benefit from it, rather than the system needs people to be in their demonic natures, if you will. They need you to be some sort of malevolent creature so they can pinpoint you and punish you for that. That's what they're requiring of humanity at the moment, because they need to make us into bad individuals in order to topple us. Okay. So rather than choosing to be that, rather than choosing to force ourselves back into crap narratives that have never served us in the past, which includes pair bonding. Okay. Again, there might be happy couples out there, but they are not working together right now in any way, shape, or form to get shit done. And if they are, it's so few and far between, because it's not natural. It's not natural. So moving forward, without having to completely and utterly devote your life to one person. That's how we got here. Just one person has to have all your time and attention. Just one person. That's dangerous, kids. That's dangerous. That's called obsession. That's called not healthy. Okay, so bring it back into sovereign nature and say, okay, rather than just focusing on the romantic aspect of life, we focus on agape. Okay, we have more than enough to go around. There doesn't need to be some sort of weird dichotomy where I'm in charge of one person and that person is in charge of certain aspects of me, and we fulfill each other's every single solitary need. That is slavery at its most ludicrous. There's no one person out there that's going to be, I'm completely fulfilled by this one person. That's never been a thing. It takes a tribe. It's always taken a tribe. We've just expected individuals to be an entire tribe. Do you see how that might be hurting humanity as a whole right now? Yeah. So, today is a good astrological aspect to come into the realization that rather than having expectations of particular people, we just say that person is capable of meeting X, Y, Z need, whatever the hell it is. Cool. Okay. Is there something that I can offer to meet a need they might have? And we can come into a space where those things can be exchanged through voluntarily motivated. I have a filled cup. I am fulfilled on my own, and I have some to give to you. So this is a real challenging place to get through, because we are so conditioned to give from a place of depletion, and that is hollow. So when we are giving from a place of depletion and hollowness, things go the way they've gone. Because if we're not giving from a place of fulfillment, the things that we're giving are unfulfilling. And do I really need to list out the traits of humanity has right now that are clearly unfulfilling? Do I have to list it? Really? I'm sure you have your own list of places where you feel unfulfilled, because you're not allowed to go back and fulfill yourself, because the system needs you completely depleted and giving bare minimum to a system that just needs you to parasite and show up for work and not actually do anything to better the system. Those of us who have worked in different jobs, even the companies that want a better yield, want a better productive, will not let you better the place. It is the most ludicrous crap I've ever witnessed in my entire life. Do you want a bigger, better bottom line? Then get the fuck out of my way. I'll do it. They won't let you do it. They don't want that because it makes them feel small. No, you have to do it our way. Well, your way is clearly not working. And this is why shit's crumbling right now. But all of us have to work for it. Okay. There is something to be said for genuine, authentic. Getting off the authentic. But I kind of like the word. But there's something really powerful about that when you can bring that spark of, or your flame, if you will, that spark of creativity, that spark of inner knowing, that spark of like, okay, I see how this operates. I can place all the mechanisms and then see how everything needs to flow smoothly. And then you get the corporate overlords going, no, because we didn't come up with that, so that can't be right. Okay. So when you have a modality of existing that sorry, it's snowing and it's so beautiful right now. So when you have a modality that you can bring into any sort of existence, it doesn't have to be a corporation. And this is the beauty of it, is when you take your time and attention away from those things that are actually depleting you, hurting you, keeping you down, making you feel small, cutting you off, whatever the heck it is. When you break free of those, you are able to construct a better existence for yourself, not just through your creative nature, but for like a real purpose-driven, productive way of serving humanity, rather than a depleted place of, I am going to go give until I have nothing left again, and then I'm going to need to take XYZ amount of time to recoup my basic standard healthy body way of existing in the world, rather than going, I gave from a place of love and authenticity, and now because I did that, I can register, because a lot of times this is what happens. We don't register what we're doing out in the world. That's why they demonize the fruit on the tree. Everything you do or don't do or whatever has repercussions in the world. It produces fruit. Everything you do or don't do produces fruit. Everything. This is why they forbid you from touching it, eating it. They want the snake coiled around it, your kundalini. Okay. This is why they demonize those things. It's because they do not, under any circumstances, want you to realize the power that you possess within you. They want you blind to it. They want you deaf, dumb, and humble about it. They do not want you to accept any compliments. They do not want you in any way, shape, or form going, yes, my impact matters. They want you thinking, feeling, and knowing that your system, your flame, is not lighting anything up. So you just let it go out. And then you become a zombie for the system to function inefficiently, I might add. So this is why this is all set up. It's not a punishment, it's a redirection. When you are in a community, say you're whatever, I don't need to put a label on it, you're in a community, and for whatever reason, gone. Community's like off limits for whatever reason. And it could be, somebody tattled, or the big boss man was just feeling really insecure and unfulfilled that day. So he's like, who can I hack off today? And then they just cut you off, and then you're off again to fend for yourself. That's the universe's way of saying, you know what? That was my lesson. That was my lesson that I need to go over here. It's not a punishment. It's a, hey, what you have to offer isn't going to do any good here. And that's all they're trying to tell you. Whether it be a malicious coworker, or somebody overseeing a project, or somebody conducting a fucking clinical trial, or an online support group, whatever the hell it is. When that person has this modality in their own mind that things have to go a certain way, things have to be a certain way, and I don't have room for this particular whatchamacallit energy. I don't have room for it. I can't hold it. I can't control it. And it's not doing what I want it to do. So I'm going to cut it off. Okay. That is just you being let go from a place that you're not going to help. They're not going to receive your help. They're not going to perceive of any help. They're going to come into a space of resentment and anger if you were to be allowed to stay there. Okay, so it's just a redirect. I'm going to take my energy into something, and oftentimes, especially when it comes to those people that do want to enter spaces and change them for the better, a lot of times people see change as some sort of demonic tower, devil, death moment where everything's going to collapse. Like, no, we can just slowly transition into something that's functionable in a much more efficient manner. And people lose their shit. Okay? Let them do their thing. It's just that system, that structure, that hierarchy, that authority figure, that coworker, that fellow whatever, telling you need to go and take this energy to a different space, because you're going to be best served in a different space, because this space can't hold you, can't contain you, can't do what it wants to do with you, so you just need to go somewhere else. And oftentimes for a lot of us that looks like entrepreneurship, where we are, holding courses and classes and one-on-ones with people to get them to a state of seeing that for themselves, standing in their own sovereignty and going, what do I want to do? What kind of life do I actually want to live here? Am I being productive, or am I just being kind of like slaved into a monotonous thing that really isn't serving humanity at all? That could be yes or no for any of you. So ask yourself these questions. Is my life the way I want it right now? And if not, maybe by February 17th, 20th realm, I could get myself at least maybe on paper to where I want to be headed. And I have a cat hair that's not going away under any circumstances. I can feel it. It's like right there. Okay. Can you get it down on paper? Maybe envision it. Make a board. Make a one of those little cellular looking structured vision board things where you have like the cells that are all connected and flowing out. It's super pretty. I don't even remember who. I got a tutorial from him. Just go look it up. It's like a little bubble, and then you create more bubbles, and then you all have them interconnecting. It's really pretty, but it's fun, and it's mechanistic, as in like it looks like parts of the body. So as within, so without. Okay, so start connecting your art to some bodily stuff too. Okay, that's a really good way to explore this, how this works with the, our bodies and the cosmos, our bodies and planets, our bodies and plants. Explore with those lovely little aspects of existence and see how much energy you can really play in. And, if you like the way it feels, choose embodiment, invoke that energy and say, okay, I guess I feel good in this. I feel confident in this. This is a good way for me to function at the moment. So like today, I want to get in my Lilith energy. I want to be, interacting with the animals, playing with the creative forces, being more grounded and centered in my creativity rather than wispy wisp. Might be one of those, like, we're gonna put a bunch of May tunes on and rock Maynard. And just rock out some bubble art. I don't know. So Lilith is a lot about sexual healing as well. So those of us who do have something, at least something similar to this to kind of identify with. And then a lot of times, if you know about Greek medicine or modality or goddesses, instead of having Zeus as the overlord, you begin to construct this idea that sexuality is not some sort of horrific, oh God, controlling, mechanistic, whatever the heck we've turned it into. An abomination. Okay. So if you can perceive, or if you can get into the energy, or you can kind of begin to formulate, I want to say, the energies that have healing behind them. So right now we very much perceive sex as harmful, and that it's only to create new babies or be quiet about behind closed doors and not talk about it, not register it, not, hey, get into tantric, go there, get into tantric energy. You know, that's just the tip of the iceberg. In Greek mythology, not mythology, but in Greek, in the Septuagint, they used what they call alabastrons, which we would call like a dildo, to distribute the medicine. And that in and of itself was pleasurable. It wasn't meant to be torturous. Healing back in the day was extremely pleasurable, because that's your body's way of opening up, is through pleasure. That's when you're constricted and tight and you got a freaking needle in your arm, you're not open to healing. You're terrified because something is siphoning your vital life force energies. Okay? That's not healing. That's the polar opposite. Versus, hey, let's get you in a calm, beautiful, serene state where you can open up to this healing. Literally open up to this healing and let that pleasure take over. And then your body relaxes and expands into it. And not only body opening itself up, but your body is now open to the healing process. A lot of people don't comprehend that we used to be able to just heal ourselves. Okay. This is why the Greeks really got into it hot and heavy, because they began to realize that, oh, guess we shouldn't have killed off all the women who knew shit. Guess we shouldn't have killed off all the medicine men and the shamans that knew shit. Now we got to go back to the drawing board. And that's mostly Greek crap. But there were a few women left over that they made priestesses, and they're like, this is how you do it. Okay? And again, think about the copious amounts of testing and medical procedures that cause way more trauma than they do healing. But you have to go through so much trauma just to get to a little bit of healing. And sometimes it's not even healing. Sometimes the things get worse. Okay? Versus opening up to life itself and allowing healing to come in. There's a big Cristo argument right now. Cristo is the oil that sits at the base of the spine that you either eject or you let it float up to coat the pineal gland. Okay, so if you can program that with some herbs, some incantations, and whatever else, and then awaken the energy and have it move upwards rather than outwards, guess what happens? Fucking magic. Okay? So, there's a huge debacle about that, but we'll let them have their debacles. So the narrative that gets stuck on healing is often trauma, when the narrative that actually goes with healing is pleasure. And it doesn't always have to be sexual, but it, you know, when you want to, heal a skin ailment, massage the skin. Don't just like and rub it on. I mean, I'm guilty of doing it too, but like, make it something that feels nice, and like you're massaging your hands or your legs or your feet or whatever the hell it is. Massage that area. Make it feel good. Your body's going to open up to that much more easily than it would, you know. These different modalities, that's very feminine. That's very feminine. The gentle easing into the soft, subtle ways in which humanity can exist, but we just shame the shit out of it and then bully everybody who dares talk about it as if it's some sort of slutty mechanism to corruption, I guess. I don't know. I've never gotten that part down. Like, wait, you want me to be feminine, but you're gonna bully the shit out of me for being feminine, and then basically force me into a masculine role while you take over the feminine role and then shame me for not. Just, what the fuck? Okay, so get into that Lilith energy where she's literally, you know, in the act with Adam, not enjoying herself at all, and says, peace out, Girl Scout, I'm leaving. And then she whispers the name of God and flies off. Adam was created for Lilith. And Eve had to be created for Adam, because no androgynous creature on this planet was about to get with that dude. Lilith was the... Go read the book. It's so fucking fab. Okay? Okay. So, remembering that ancient wisdom of gentleness. And then, you know, like I said in the prior videos, making sure that people that are going to abuse that are not allowed in. Yeah, you can know it exists. You can know that it's there. But when you've proven time and time again that, like, it's not to be trusted with this person, then it's not to be trusted with that person. Okay? And no amount of abuse, torture, manipulation, or agony is going to bring that out in people. That's not how this has ever worked. You have to have the safety container or you don't have access. This is what men have lost entirely. They don't know what safety is. They know that violence is safety for them. Can't imagine why there's droves of women going, maybe let's not anymore. Okay? So, again, the safety space provides the necessary container for healing to happen. If you don't have that, healing's probably going to take way too long, going to take way too much work, going to deplete you in every way, shape, and form. Versus when you just have a safety container that you can freely, successfully open up into and receive the healing immediately, rather than going, okay, now I have to go back out into trauma. Keep your flame.